got to be masters of details. I did add, okay, Ashley, I did add to our 5-star, the ReLaunch way. Just want to review, and I'm going to, we did add to it. We talked about last week, this is the review from last week. Our clients are our members, visitors, and community partners. Make everybody feel as if they're the only one in the congregation. We build a culture that is one of celebration and encouragement. I'm going to start asking you all, based on an exercise that we'll do tonight, to begin to start taking notice of other ministry leaders or ministry persons that do something for which you want to give a shout out. Got to learn how to celebrate each other. Okay, got to learn how to celebrate each other. So we're going to start doing that in here. We work on our communications so that others feel heard and included. That's just a review from last week. Ashley, let's go to the next one. This is what I added, okay? Knowing the average person drives past 10 churches to come to ReLaunch, our goal is to make sure they don't go anywhere else. This is their last stop. This is their last stop. We want to grow the ministry, not swell. Because remember, there's a difference between growing and swelling. What's the difference between growing and swelling? Man.
Growing is healthy, swelling indicates.
That's it. Growing is healthy, swelling indicates that there's a problem, that there's an issue. Okay? At ReLaunch, we value quality ministry. In order to maintain quality ministry, we must be honest with ourselves, be able to take constructive criticism, be able to make adjustments for the better of the ministry. And Ashley, is there another slide after that? Yep, bingo, thank you. Remember, I'm adding to this, so by the time I'm done, it might be a 20-page document. Okay, so I'm just adding to this weekly, based on what we discuss in here, what you all say. It's important to get the right people in the right ministry places because better to leave it vacant than get the wrong person. Because then you got to deal with hurt feelings. Then you got to deal with, pastor, you got to get to, nobody want to deal with all that because this is church, right? This is church. So here's what we're going to, I want you all to really develop this here. Must have standards in ministry. And so, Ashley, I think make this one of these bullets here. In order to serve and lead in ministry, you are going to define this. Okay, I can't define this for you. These are just questions that I threw in to help you really concretize. So, in order to serve in ministry, a person must what? Be a member for how long? A lot of times, person walk in the door, and because they look good, they dress good, oh yeah, come join this ministry. Could be as crazy as you don't know what. Come on now, right? So how long? Now that's something that the leaders can discuss it with pastor, but please get the answer to that. I'm not giving you the answer. You all have, and when you get an answer, let me know, I'll fill that in, okay? Here's the other thing, oh, thank you, Ashley. Yep, help me cite. Complete requirements. What do they have to do? Do you got to go through some kind of new members class, or they have to go through discipleship? As leaders, you ought to know that, so when people join your ministry, at least you know that they've done a baseline, right? They've been a member for 6 months, a year, or however long. They've gone through these classes, whatever the requirement is, but you want to hold people to some kind of standard. If you don't have a standard, you are inviting problems. And you will just suffer from the warm body syndrome. Musically, it's easy, right? Either you can play or you can't, right? You can sing or you can't. But what about, I can be on the door, and then you put them on the door, and then you discover that they're mean. Then you want to glean. And the reason why I say be a member for how long, because that gives you time to observe people in a couple of seasons, So debriefing after ministry or ministry events is crucial. That we'll do something about that tonight. checklist of excellence and performance, proficiency, challenges, and changes. You want to implement that. These are the things that will be part of the standards, okay? How long, requirements, checklist of excellence. These are the things that will develop your standards of ministry so that you at least have someone who joins your ministry that you can at least say, okay, we may be on one accord right out the gate. Now, we may have some disagreements later, but right out of the gate, fundamentally, we have this. I know this about you. You've been a member for 6 months. You've gone through your class or discipleship. This whole feedback piece. So do understand that. Please develop. I'm going to come back to that because I do want to be able to put answers. How long do you want a person to be a member of ReLaunch? Just a member. Sometimes people come to church and they get real anxious. They want to join everything, and they realize that they're bad at everything. Just sit. Just sit. Can you just sit and hear the word for a while, right? And then come. ReLaunch ain't going nowhere, right? Let them sit. Let them sit and just, I can come to church every Sunday. That's a big deal for some people. Just coming to church every Sunday is a big deal, okay? And again, new members class. What classes? I just put that there. That's me. But I need to know what you all will hold as standard. Don't have a long list, but you got to have something. You with me? Got to have something. Got to have something. And I'm going to preempt myself by saying this, and it'll come up later. Just because you can teach elementary school doesn't mean you can teach Sunday school. Okay? Just because you play with whoever don't mean you can play here. Good? Okay? So just because a person brings a certain talent with them does not necessarily mean you should. That's why the standard. Hold them. I don't care if Judge whoever come in the door. Either Judge whoever or Ghetto whoever, hold them to the same standard. I'm telling you, you'll pay for it. You'll pay for it. Just because a person may come to the church with a certain set of gifts, we're going to learn how to almost profile people. Not in a bad way. But you want to have the right persons in the right spots. And again, better to tell them, why don't you sit for another 3 months? And this becomes a weeding out. Oh, I can't go through discipleship. That's how you know if people can't go through that, then you know folk got arrogant issues. If they can't submit to him, what makes you think they're going to submit to you? So if Pastor says, I want all my potential leaders to go through discipleship, and a person got an issue with that, you don't want them in your ministry. I don't care how gifted they are, how talented, you don't want them. It's a fire waiting to happen. And remember, you don't know where people are coming from. So it's not like you're going to call their previous church and get a reference per se, unless you know somebody. Child, you better leave that person alone, because some people go from church to church. But if you got standards, you're able to say, okay, we're going to help people because we're looking for this type of person in our ministry. You with me? Yeah. Okay. So again, I'll be adding to this, and by the time I'm done, it may be 20 pages. I'm going to go back and tweak it. Everybody will get a copy, but this becomes your working document. 5-star to ReLaunch will look like that because that's what you all said. Not what I said. That's what you all. This is everything that you have said. Anything that I've added, I will say, this is me just to fill it in. Okay, so last week we talked about 2 principles. Okay, we're in chapter 2. We talked about the first 2 principles from Dr. Deming, the quality guru. And again, quality is not something that just kind of happens overnight. It's not going to be, at the end of our time together, we're going to, we're 5-star. Nope, we're not going to use 5-star. 5-star is what you are, it's not what you say. If you got to say you're 5-star, you're not. That's just like I have a saying, if you got to tell me you're humble, you're not. You're probably arrogant. Why you have to tell me you're humble? Humble is seen, not said. 5-star is seen, not told. Right? Ritz-Carlton does not tell you we're a 5-star hotel when you go in. You know it. You already know that. That's what we want persons walk through that door at ReLaunch. Yeah, they got something going on there. Yeah. That's why you'll hear me say, you've heard me say, I just don't say it. Yeah, I mean it. That, Sabrina and I will pull up on the parking lot. Oh, by the way, just a parenthetical aside, just keep her in prayer. Her brother, so this would be her niece, was killed in a kind of, it wasn't intended for her. That was the problem. She was sitting in a club or somewhere, and a guy drove by and shot up the club and killed her. So, keep her in prayer. We live in a very cruel world. So I'll say, when we pull up on the parking lot, we can hear you all from out there. That's a good thing, right? I say that on purpose. We can hear you from out there. That's a good thing. That means something's happening in here, okay? So this is why I'll say, I want you to start shouting out each other. Cross ministries. Hey, y'all did great on hospitality. I saw you dealing with that lady or ushers. Learn to start not just complimenting, but really celebrating each other. That's, and we'll get more into that today. And the first principle in chapter 2, we want to be the best we can be, reach our potential. This is our review from last week, because I really want to start drilling down on tonight. And then principle 2, let's practice what we preach. Put thorns in our laurels. That's that whole accountability and commitment piece. And that whole thing we talked about last week, it's grinding. Ministry is grinding. It is, there's nothing sexy about it. It's grinding. You just got to be able to put the work in, because it's a grind to this, okay? Whether your ministry is seen, right? You see them or unseen, the sound people or the parking lot people, it's still a grind. Okay? Any questions or comments? We want to talk. We want to move on to, want to cover maybe the rest of the principles tonight, at least in chapter 2. So let's move on. Principle number 3. Okay, principle number 3. It starts on page 37. This is a big one because we'll just read it. Everyone on the ministry team, thank you, Ashley. Everyone on the ministry team is involved in analyzing what we do, how we do it, and how we can do it better to serve people best. In short, what is that saying? In short, you ain't got to give me a whole long, deep, in short, what does that mean? Say again. Okay. All right. What else? Everyone on the ministry is involved in analyzing what we do. Yes, ma'am?
Of course, one person is 3 eyes and 4 eyes is better than one.
Oh.
So everyone has their input. Then we can, check off make sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed. Recognize our mistakes, make sure, we celebrate what was good and move on. So that when we do the next event, it will be even better.
That's wonderful. That is so well said. I could not say it any better myself.
That's right there. That's my team.
Is that right? That's Dana back there, y'all, in case y'all didn't know. But what it basically means is that everybody on the ministry is important. Sometimes, you ever get on the ministry and we all know who the leader is, and then it's everybody else. So it's the leader of said ministry, and then it's everybody else, right? So it's always Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, right? It's always Michael Jordan and the rest of the Bulls. A good leader, I learned something. I'm reading a book called Cast, won't get into it, but it talks about the alpha male, and it's derived from the wolf pack. It said an alpha, if a person is an alpha and they exerting their authority and jumping up and down screaming out, they're really not an alpha. The alpha is the one who doesn't have to say anything, but everybody in the room knows that they the leader. That's the alpha, right? The alpha don't have to overexert, jump up and down, make all this noise. Don't have to do that, right? The alpha is the one who just sits back, but everybody knows that they the leader, okay? So I say that to say, in a ministry, if you're the head of the ministry, everybody should already know that. You ain't got to wear a big L on your chest that says leader. You ain't got to do that, right? And normally, leaders are just persons who, and here's the thing, if you're a leader and no one's following, you're just taking a walk, right? That's from John Maxwell. If you're leading and no one's following, you're just taking a walk. So you as leaders have to make everybody on the ministry feel important. Whether they serve every Sunday, one Sunday a month, one Sunday every 6 months, or whatever, you let them do that, you let them be part of the ministry, fine. That's back to the standard piece, right? If you don't get upset if the person come once every 6 months and you ain't check it day one. Don't get upset. No. Because the standard said, I need you here 2 out of 4 Sundays or whatever. Well, I can only make it, every 3 months. Well, that's fine. There may be another ministry for you. Right. Please don't be afraid to tell. Otherwise, you just invite headache. And it's the warm body syndrome. You just invite headache. If you just take persons because they're nice and all that, you're going to invite headache to yourself. So everyone on the ministry is important. Everyone on the ministry team is involved in analyzing what they do. It's the effectiveness on feedback. Does anybody know what appreciative inquiry is? Appreciative inquiry is a concept, is a small book called the Appreciative Inquiry, and it basically says, or it highlights, what do we do well? Who does it? How can we do it often? It's not to ignore what things are going wrong, okay? But remember now, this is volunteer ministry, right? If we're just going to kick people and, bludgeon people when they make mistakes and all of that, and I've shared this previously, people are not, everything, you can treat everybody great when everything is good. The question in church is, how do you treat me when I mess up? How do you treat me when, I don't make it and I should have? Or, how do you treat me then? Because you can have a great event and have a whole lot of body bags at the end of it, and you'll never have another event because you done killed everybody during this one. Okay? Everybody is important. Everybody has a voice. It is your job as leaders to make everybody feel important. Whether they're there, if you allow them on the ministry, if they fulfill the standards and whatever, and you let them in, you receive them, you welcome them, it is your job to make them feel important. Make them feel valuable. So remember, these are volunteers. They're not getting paid.
Right.
So you don't have the money stick, right? On the job, you don't do a good job, it becomes a monetary issue. You don't have that leverage. So what do you have? Your influence. Either you have it or you don't. And you can learn real quick in church whether you have it or you don't. Everybody. So, how was Sunday? It was good? Okay. What was good about it? Really? Name one thing. Okay, name one thing.
Well, one thing was that we had two people.
Mm-hmm.
They were baptized.
Uh-huh.
So that was great.
Yes.
New members that had joined, they received their new
Oh.
member certificates.
Oh, how many?
1, 2, 4, I think 5.
Now, don't get upset with the deacon. He wasn't here when, okay? But you're doing great, sir. Okay, what else?
Well, I arrived late, so I don't know how to begin.
Ah! Deke, I can appreciate your honesty. That was his way out. Doriel, that was his way out because he said, I don't want him to ask me no more questions. So if I say I arrived late, then, okay. Well, the reason why I'm drilling down on this, Deke, let me just be honest, okay, is because I asked that question last week. Somebody said good, and good is 30,000 feet, right? What we want to do is look at it 10,000 feet. So that's why I start to ask specific questions. And so, yep, we had 2 people get baptized. We had new members. How was hospitality? Mm-hmm. It's good. See, good. We're gonna just remove good from the answer list here. What was good about it?
We had a lot of new members show up.
A lot. How many?
We had 6 altogether.
See, this is details. A lot is 30,000 feet. 6 is 10,000 feet. Are y'all following what I'm saying? So when I'm asking these questions, I'm asking them on purpose because there's coming a day when I'm just going to back off. And I'm going to say, ushers, come to the front. And I'm just going to sit down. And I'm say, okay, how was church? And you got to be able to answer or talk to each other. Yeah, we had 6 new members and all that because this is your ministry. You got to be able to talk to each other like that. Anything else, Ms. Tyra, about hospitality?
We had a lot of great feedback when they were out the door.
On the what?
When they were leaving, we asked
Oh.
how the service was, and they said perfect, and that they'll be back.
Oh, what was some of the feedback?
That they enjoyed the service, they enjoyed the preaching.
They enjoyed the preaching.
Yes, and one was a visitor from another church, and she still gave us praise.
Fabulous. And even with that, if you talk to people on the way out and you ask them how to serve, don't let them say good. Good can be, sometimes people will say good just so you won't ask them no more. So maybe it's not good, but they don't want to be mean, okay? So what was good about it? You ask that question, persons may tell you. You with me? Okay? Leaders, that's a leader question, right? What was good about it? That's a leader question. Just a regular member question, oh, how was church? Girl, he preached. What was his title? I don't know. What did he preach about? Couldn't tell you. But child, he preached. Come on, we've all heard that. We've all heard that, right? Child, he preached. What was his text? What was the scripture? I don't know. Because I tell you, 80% is lost by the time they get to the parking lot. 80% of what a person hears is lost. That was, when I read that, it was horrifying as a pastor to do all that work knowing that the congregation was going to lose 80% as soon as they walked out the door. Unless you said something specific to them. Okay, so, all right. Excuse me. All right, so remember, I'm going to ask that periodically. And then a day is coming when I'm just going to snatch a ministry. I don't know what ministry. I don't know when I'm going to start. It's just going to be random. Choir. Or praise team, yeah, praise team, hospitality, intercessors, ushers, step up. And I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to ask the question, how was church? It's going to be because that, and I'm not going to let you sit down, because in order to do it without feeling like it's a chore, you got to do it standing up. When you stand, it tells people we ain't going to be here long. When you sit, it's like, oh my God, here's a meeting. And on a Sunday, Folk ain't got time for that. They ain't got time for that. So your questions got to be, all right, so with hospitality, how many people did we greet? With ushers, how many people did we see? With new members, how many people joined? Nobody? Why? What do we need to work on? Okay. With praise team, how's the sound? Sound good? No? Mic was off? Somebody off a note? These are the questions. It just has to be specific to your ministry. 3, 4 questions and then leave. 3, 4 questions and then move. The more you do it, the more succinct the questions will become. It may be awkward at first. You may get oh, we did great. We did good. And keep doing it. It will become more specific. It will, because then you'll become, and you won't want to hear good, because good has a lot of meanings, including bad. Okay? All right. Okay. Page 45. I just want to, we're doing great. Page 45, there is an acrostic on page 45. It's the word inspect. Again, we're on principle 3. Everyone on the ministry team is involved in analyzing what we do. That means everybody's voice matters. Right? And I know some answers or some comments may seem a little off base or whatever, but hey, leader, you let them in the ministry. So that means you have to, mold the clay, so to speak, be the potter, that whole piece. Okay, so inspect is the acrostic or the acronym. And so the I, initiate respectful accountability. For those that have the book, just underline the word respectful, right? Because accountability can be the dirty word in the church if you're not careful, right? But people have to be held accountable for either not showing up, and we'll get to that in a moment. Hey, maybe you shouldn't have said that to her, or you shouldn't have said it like that, right? Because sometimes it's not what we say, but say it with me. It's how. Yeah, sometimes it's not what. You could be completely right and wrong at the same time. Okay, so initiate respectful accountability. Never confuse inspection with expectation. Write this down. It's worth writing down. People don't do what you expect. They do what you inspect. Anybody with children here know exactly what I'm talking about. Clean your room sounds a whole lot different than you walking in the room to see if it's clean. Right? Right? Telling my son, clean your room is different than him fearing me walking in and throwing I used to tell my children, I said, I'm a little less than their mother is, but I said, if I ever go in to clean your room, since I bought everything in the room, I'm throwing everything out of the room. That's how I clean. I don't wipe nothing down, Siobhan. I don't do none of that. I just take a trash bag and I throw everything out. Everything. Since I bought it, I can throw it all out. My daughter felt that. Got down to 2 outfits. Dad, what you threw everything away? What? Wow. You didn't want it. I told you to clean your room. Your mother first told you to clean your room. And I told you, if I clean it, this is what I'm going to do. Since I bought it, so never had that problem again. Now, she might not be, Mrs. Clean and all of that, but the point is, people don't do what you expect, right? I expect because you're a Christian, you ought to act a certain way. Good luck on that. Let me know how that works out. They do what you inspect. If someone knows they are going to be questioned about their activity, their behavior, or their performance, if they know, even if you don't, or if they know that they're going to be questioned, it will temper their behavior because they don't do what you expect. You can expect anything. They only do what you inspect, right? If you ask somebody to be here at 8:30 and they're here at 8:50 and you never say anything, guess what time they coming next week? 9 o'clock. Because they don't do what you expect. So leaders, when you get new people in the ministry and you telling them what you do and the times and all that, and I want everybody here and all of that, first time they're late, hey, 8:30. 8:30. Ain't got to be mean. Ain't got to be, hey, 8:30. Yeah, that's all. Hey, 8:30. But if you never say anything, they will never do what you expect. You can expect all day long. Okay. All right, select what you expect. I'm still on the acrostic. Select what you expect. Ladies and gentlemen, if everything is a war, then nothing is a war. If everything causes a 5-alarm fire, then nothing. All right, if everything is important, then nothing is important. Right? What is important to the praise team? What is important on hospitality? What is important? What is important? What must you get done on Sundays as a ministry? What is it that you're trying to get done? And everybody in the ministry ought to know what you're trying to get done on a Sunday at an event. They ought to know. There's a gazillion things that have to be done. If a gazillion things aren't done, did you get done what you're supposed to get done? Okay? All right. Performance must be measurable. How do you measure that? Okay? Sometimes, measuring performance in church can be kind of fluid and, there's no real, it's not like we selling cars, I sold 8 cars today or, it's not measurable. And please, 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 do not measure ReLaunch by the number of people in the chairs. Don't do it. Because you'll hurt your own feelings. And don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you what I know. Don't do it. Do not measure ReLaunch as a ministry from the number of people in the chairs. Trust God to send the people. Be ready to receive them when they get here. That's your job as leaders. Okay? Be ready to receive them when they get here. If you bring in them, evangelism, great. That was that whole in-reach, outreach, right? You can't bring people in if you're not expecting them. All right, so you've got to expect them. You have to expect persons to come. Excellence, excellence demands it. Okay? Chase perfection, you'll catch excellence. No one's perfect, but if you chase it, you'll catch excellence along the way. Celebrate the victories. I knew that's why I have said, celebrate each other. I knew I was going to get here. Celebrate each other. Somebody doing a good job, let me tell you something. That big currency in church. Because remember, everybody ain't getting paid. So what is the currency? Thank you. Go a long way. You'd be surprised. If you can make someone feel important, they'll run through the wall for you without you giving them a nickel. And take time to follow up. Follow up is another dirty word in the church because usually we just like to do things and go home and that's it. But follow up. An example, if your ministry, if persons on your ministry, you haven't seen them, go after them. It's part of that in-reach. It's part of that in-reach. Okay? Because I tell you, people don't run from church, they drift. They don't run. Very few people run from church. They drift. 1 week becomes 2, 2 weeks becomes 4, 4 weeks becomes 2 months, and suddenly they're not taking your calls no more. Okay? All right. So again, principle number 3, everybody on the ministry, everybody, the rock star to the rock, everybody on the ministry is important. God, I cannot convey that or communicate that enough. Right? It's not just the vocal one. It's not just the outspoken one. It's not just the one that's always seen. Everybody, and I harp on this, because when I was at Psalms, I was always the quiet one. I had to be brought out of my shell. Part of the reason I knew that God had called me to preach is because it's so antithetical to my character. I would rather sit in the back. My wife and I, we could walk into a room. My wife and I is a social butterfly. I can walk into a room and you not even know that I'm there. And I'm all right with that. I am really comfortable in my own skin with just disappearing. I'm good with that. So I knew for me that God had called me to preach because that is so antithetical to who I am. I would rather just be me. Okay? So for that person, you may have to bring them out of their shell. Right? They may have a voice, but you may have to bring it out of them. Okay? You may have to bring them out of their shell. Okay. So that's principle number 3. Okay? Any questions, comments, thoughts? Principle number 3. All right? Everyone is valuable in the ministry. Everybody. Okay. Let's go to number 4. Who are the best people for the ministry task and what are the best resources? This is challenging because it forces leaders to say, who do I want? It removes the warm body syndrome because every leader should be looking for a type. Who do I want on the praise team? It's not discriminatory. It's being a leader. Right? I'm not taking just anybody. Who do I want? Who do I see that has any kind of musical inclination that I can grab and say, come here, let me talk to you a minute. Right? Who else can do the promos? You seem effervescent. You know, you've gone through, you've been a member here for 6 months. You've gone through the classes. You're looking for something to do. Who has got technological whatever? Okay? Who? Every leader ought to be looking for someone, not to stalk and, because you don't want to run up to, oh my God, Joanna. No, that turns people off. People become, wait a minute, and remember, if you find out that someone, I'll just use this as an example, just because someone's an accountant doesn't mean you make them trustee. Right? Just because they're an accountant doesn't mean you make them trustee. Just because they are chef so-and-so at the hospital cafeteria don't mean you put them in the kitchen. Because this is church now. Remember that. This is church. It's different. It's different. Everything in the church is a ministry. What you do secularly is what you get paid for. What you do for God is what you've been called for, okay? All right? So you have to discern that as leaders, right? I may not be the best singer, but I've got a good heart. Want to go up there and make... Okay? So again, who am I looking for? What am I looking for? And I'm going to get into this. I'm going to touch this. I'm going to touch this, okay? And what are... Oh, let me just go here. The traditional ministry, particularly in ReLaunch, what are the traditional ministries? Good. All right. Didn't have to say it. But now outside of that, in the post-COVID world, there are now other ministries. Everybody don't want to sing. Everybody can't sing. Everybody don't want to usher. Everybody don't want. So there are other now ministries that are needed and necessary, particularly of the technological type of. So there are other, type of prison. There are other ministries that are needed and valuable that may not be within the traditional scope. Okay, and it's good for me to say that because since ReLaunch is a founding church, you can develop that as you go. It's a place where ideas can just come. Every now and then, leaders should just get together and have what's called a brainstorming session. That's where you just kind of throw paint on the wall and see what sticks. You ought to pick each other's brain. Just, what about this? And what? Some stuff is crazy, but then some stuff might actually stick. We used to do that at Psalmist. Pastor Thomas would just grab us in a room and just, what's on your mind? What you thinking about? How can we? And I think that is how one of the conferences was birthed. When we were at the convention center or something, Kingdom Conference, Kingdom Conference, that's it. It started out from a brainstorming session. Just throwing ideas on the wall, and that stuck. And for a few years, that's what we were doing. Okay, so you never know what's in someone's head. You just got to start scratching, particularly young people, because they have a tendency to smoke you over. They got it, but you have to scratch it and pick it out and give them a voice and make them feel important. Sometimes young people don't feel important on the ministry because they defer to all the older voices. They the one with the idea. They the one with they'll just defer to the old because they're not made to feel important. You with me? Okay. So, who are the best people for the ministry? What resources? Page 39 has a great quote. Just because people are willing doesn't necessarily qualify them. Just because I know, I'm preempting myself. I'm going to get there, I promise. Just because I want it, child, I am a great singer in heaven. Not even in the shower. In heaven. Nate, in heaven, I'll be a great singer. On earth, I preach. That's it. Okay? Just because people are willing, there has to be an ability, some ability with the willingness, right? You can be able and not willing. You can be willing and not able. You want to be able to kind of marry the two, okay? You want to be able to marry the two. And so that leads me, thank you, notes. That leads me to this. That's what we're going to spend a little time on. 3 C's of leadership, concept developed by a pastor named Bill Hybels. I believe I read it in a book called Courageous Leadership by Bill Hybels. I'm going to get right to it because I think this would be helpful to you all, especially as you are looking to bring new people in and maybe transition out. I know I may have just offended someone, but this is not the Supreme Court. Everybody's not nominated for life. So the question becomes, who is the next you? Okay? Who is the next one? Okay. And so that is also who you should be looking for. Who is the next me? Okay. But let's talk about this for a moment, because I don't want to preempt myself. The first C character. Are they genuinely a nice person? You ever meet somebody and you just don't get the good vibe? You just something about them. They don't, Mother Church, just something about them, right? You ever meet people like that? Just something about them, right? And then on the flip side, right, you can meet somebody and you immediately click. I used to say this in funerals a lot, that, some persons, for a long time, you wish you never met them. And then there are others who you know for a short time, and you click. There's something about them, okay? Character. Now, I understand God is the only one that can change someone's character, but for the short term, right? Are they nice? Is this someone I could potentially get along with? Don't get too deep. This ain't Dr. Phil. Don't try to, go too deep in someone's character and all of that, run a kind of gossip background check is what I call, try to get the 411 on people. Don't do that. Don't do that. And please don't let anyone else give you an opinion about someone,
Right. That's important.
because you might make a mistake.
Yes.
Formulate your own opinions on persons. Everybody gets an A until they screw up.
Right. That part.
Until they prove to you. They got proof. Not hearsay, proof. Everybody gets an A. So, character. That's the shallow end of the pool. Let's go maybe 3 feet deeper. Competence. You can either play or you can't. You can either sing or you can't. You can either pray or you can't. I want to be an intercessor. Well, you and Jesus ain't been on speaking terms for a while. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? If you don't pray for your own self, how are we going to do that? Just no. Don't, I'm just, okay. All right? Competence. I'm trying to help your leaders so when new people come, this ought to go off in your head like a siren. If you're potentially, for lack of a better word, interviewing or maybe having someone looking to join your ministry, this should go off in your head like a siren. After that whole standard piece, how long you been a member and did you go through the class? Yeah, come back to me after you've gone through new members or, do that. But this ought to go off in your head like a siren. Yeah, character. And see, this is where, how long they've been a member, because if they got, how you treat your kids? I just noticed. I'm just looking, How you treat your husband or your wife? I'm just looking. Now you all know, I ask all the time, I tell Sabrina all the time, if you don't come here soon, they might put me out. But the point is, right, you all know I love that girl. And that girl loves her some me. Everybody knows that, right? Everybody knows this, okay? So to see us, that's just it. You see us. It's not, Dad, you Reverend, you treat her like that? Oh man, she married to, and it ain't that. It ain't that at all. So that's where how long you've been a member comes in, because it's just, I'm just watching. I'm not kidding, I ain't getting any business. I'm just watching, right? I'm just watching. Character, competence. I'm going to move this because, good God, I want everybody to see this one. Character, are you nice? Competence, can you do? Chemistry, here it is, do you fit?
Right.
Do you fit? You could be a nice person and be able to sing, dance, and play, and stand on the door, and cook the chicken, and all of that. But for whatever reason, whenever you come in the room, it goes dark.
Right. My God.
Whenever you come in the room, it's just something changes when you come in. Everybody starts to get a funky attitude when you show up. We were doing fine. You came in and suddenly we arguing. We fussing. Why? Let me tell you something. If this don't go off in your head like a siren, do you fit? And that's why I say better to leave it vacant than get the wrong person because of this. Not because of competence, not because of character, it's because of chemistry. Deke.
That could be two-sided with chemistry, though. That could be a double-edged sword there, right?
Okay.
Because you can walk into a room and it can go dark, probably because of a previous energy that was in the room before you came in there.
That's quite possible. Or the flip side is you the energy bringing it.
I could be, or
You could.
the energy
Now, let's just kind of massage Deke's point for a minute. This is not to say that persons are not allowed to have a bad day. This is not what I'm saying. Right? This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, over time, it just appears that when I am singing with the praise team, something is off. I may be able to sing. See, I picked the praise team because I'm a singer in heaven, right? But I may be able to sing, but it's just something when okay, let me use this analogy. One good apple don't turn the bad apples good, right? But one bad apple can turn all the good apples bad. That's this. That's this. It's not immediate, Deke. Because you know why? If it's immediate, it's this. You pick that up right away, right? What I'm saying is, if it's over a period of time, it's like, dang, y'all don't have the same zeal. People not smiling anymore. That's not immediate. That's kind of like erosion. It just works slow, and it eats away at a ministry. And then somebody wakes up one morning and says, how did we get here? It's this. It's this. It's not immediate. Yes, it could be too. That's why I said it's not if somebody has a bad day. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's over time, we were doing okay, and then something happened. Something changed. Yeah, you joined. Better leave it vacant than get the wrong person, because the wrong person is going to affect this. And then it becomes, how do we fix it? Pastor, then it becomes pastor's problem. I know of which I talk. You let them in, it's your fault. I knew they were crazy, but you overruled me, so it's your fault. You deal with them. But it's this. You with me, Deke? It's this. It's this. Okay? Not everybody can be a deacon. Now I know pastor and leaders, they select a, but it's this. Right? You're a deacon, aren't you? Okay. So, when the deacons get together, let's just kind of massage this. Let's just use the deacons. You're a deacon too, right, Nate? And Damien, you're a deacon too, right? Okay. And got other deacons in here? Okay, these three. So if a guy comes in, right, I come in, right, and you guys are flowing, and now all of a sudden, y'all don't want to visit nobody no more. Or now all of a sudden, you become very standoffish. You three guys are very friendly, but you become very standoffish. And it's just something weird. The praise team start noticing, dang, there's just something. It's something. The something is not the something, it's the someone. Maybe it's me. Right? I may be, deacon do right. All of that. But I don't fit ReLaunch. I may have been a good deacon wherever, but when I come here, I don't fit here. This is the question that kills ministries. Do you fit? I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm not saying I don't like you. I'm asking this question because failure to ask this question, it's like a cancer. And it just all of a sudden just eats, and all of a sudden you stage 4 and you don't know how you got there. Your ministry's on life support. And Pastor Churn is like, what in the frog heaven happened to my deacons? I can tell you. Who the new ones? Who came in? Who came in? Because you do know the devil does come to church. It ain't always the devil's fault, but you do know he does come to church. So you with me, Deke, still? Right? It's this. It's this. This is 50 feet of water, this one. This is 5 feet of water, either you're nice or you're not. This is, 8 feet of water, either you can play or sing or you can be. And what's also in this, and here's my 4th C. This is me. This is not Bill Hybels. This is me. And this is from my pastoring at Fulton, okay? Deacon Nate, I had people that were all of this. I had people that were that. Doriel, Siobhan, I had people, Alisa, I had people that were nice, they could do, and they seemed to fit. This is what was absent. Now I'm in 150 feet of water, okay? If this is 100 feet of water, I'm about to go deeper. This one is the one I'm in 150 feet of water. I'm in 150 feet of water right here, ladies and gentlemen, okay? 3 feet, Miss Tyre, are you nice? Yes or no? Okay. Can you sing? Yes or no? Can you greet people at the door? Yes or no? That's yes or no, right? Alisa, this is the one that if you don't answer this question, you'll pay for it. I'm telling you what I know because I paid for it. Ed Fulton, I paid for it. And I really paid for it. That's why I came up with my last seed, Doria, because I really paid for it right there. You ever hear the phrase, oh, I'm with you in spirit? One day, the lady that said that to me caught me on a bad day. And I said, I didn't need your spirit, I needed your body. Had to take another day off. You know, my pastoral ministry was just, whatever. I loved them, they loved me, but they would just say things that's like, that's crazy. That don't make no sense. Your spirit don't move these, I need these chairs moved. Your spirit don't do that. I need your body to do that. Oh, I was with you in spirit. Oh, you were home asleep. I'm here moving the chairs. Come on now, cut that out. This will give you heartburn. Because what church does is it goes for this. And it don't ask this. That's why I'm saying have your standards. Because this is easy. This is easy. And in a smaller church, oh yeah, you can usher. Yeah, you can usher. Until you realize they're making all the other ushers uncomfortable. And then you realize that they out 3 out of 4 Sundays. When you done told them I need you here 2 Sundays out of the month, but I ain't got no good reason. I just whatever, you fill the blank in. This one. If this is 100 feet of water, this is 150 feet. And this one will drive you to drink. Now don't drink now, I'm just saying. This one will drive you crazy. Because you'll be looking for folk, and they not there. As great as Deke plays on the piano, right? What if Deke was not here 3 out of 4 Sundays, as great as he is? Where are we going with this? Deke, are you with me? Come on now. It's this. It's this. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders, I'm telling you, you'll learn more from my mistakes than my successes. It was this that used to give me heartburn. I used to get, well, Pastor, why you don't make him deacon? Why don't he come to church? See, I'm sorry. I would just say things. I would just say things. I'm sorry. Don't come to me with that mess. Don't do that. I'm here every Sunday. I know everybody in the church, and you ain't there long enough to be no deacon or whatever. No. You're giving me heartburn. I ain't even made you a leader. You're giving me heartburn. It's this, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you watch folk. This is why you watch folk. This is easy. This will make you'll pay for this. You will pay for this. Please, as you take on new people, these are easy. This requires some introspection. And this is not personal. It's not the whole, oh, I don't like you. And do you fit? Can I depend on you? That's it. That is the crux of ministry. Do you fit? These are easy. Are you nice? Can you sing? Type or whatever the ministry calls for. Do you fit? And can I depend on you? You answer those 2 questions, you won't have a problem in your ministry. You've got to answer those questions and take the time necessary to answer those. Are you still with me? I hope I wanted to spend a little time on that because that is crucial. Okay, page 46, still on principle 4. Who are the best people for ministry tasks, right? The person that fits. I may not be the best singer, but I fit. Daggone it. I may not be the best whatever person on the door, but I'm there. Let me tell you something. I'm there. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you. Okay, I'll get to this in a moment, but let me tell you something. I can teach someone if you're there. I can teach someone. If you're there, you hungry, and you fit, I can teach you. But if you know everything and you ain't there, then I won't be bothered with you. Because then that becomes an arrogance. You don't want to serve, you want to be seen. I can pick that out. I can smell that like bad food. I can sniff that out. Good God, I can sniff that out. Okay? All right? And pastor can too. I know he a very nice guy, all of that, but he can sniff that out too. Okay? So, please. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. Page 46. We turn people off. Here's a good quote. We turn people off with less than professional publicity, lousy sound, crummy carpeting, and we end up losing people and dollars instead of attracting people and dollars. I said it before, I say it again. Just because we're small don't mean we got to be ghetto.
Right.
It don't mean that. Oh, well, we're doing our best. No. Do your best. You know good and well what 5-star looks like. I opened it up by saying, you walk in the Ritz-Carlton, you know that it is. They don't have to tell you that. And if they, okay, I wrote it down, so, okay. Do not accept in the church what you would not accept in the world. Meaning, I wish Sabrina was here. My children have a saying. My wife, if we go out to eat and she don't like the food or she don't like the service. If she don't like the service, she's going to ask for the manager. If she don't like the food, she's going to send it back. We've gotten into a whole lot of with that, right? If she don't like the food, she's going to send it back. If she don't like the service, she's going to ask, I need to speak to the manager. How many of you are like that, right? If you don't like bad service and all that, why do we accept that in church? I'm just asking. I'm asking the question to probe your thinking, right? It's almost like we lower our standards when we come in here. Why? If we are serving the one true and only God, and you're willing to accept substandard when you will not accept that at a restaurant with a person who you don't even see the cook or you don't even see them. You don't even see them. And you are willing to not accept why on earth would you tolerate substandard in church, knowing who you are serving, knowing who this is for, knowing who's really watching? It's just a thought. I love you. It's just a thought. I'm just trying to probe it because I'm talking to leaders. I'm not talking to just average members. I'm talking to leaders so I can talk like this, okay? So don't accept in church what you would not accept or tolerate in the world. If you wouldn't accept it in the world, if you go to a concert, if you go to a concert, right, and the sound is horrible, I want my money back. If you go to a concert and we went to see an artist, And the artist was like 2 hours late. Now, you know, I almost had a hemorrhage right there because you know how I feel about late. Not my wife, I want my money back. I want my money back. I want my money back. So why, not why, don't accept in church what you would not accept in the world? If you say you're serving God, then I need your best. Now, I understand I'm working with leftover time. I understand that. I get that. That's why I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to, gamble your time. I'm not going to, mess over your time. Yes, whatever time you give, then that needs to be the best time right there. If you can only give me this little square, fine. But it better be the best little square you can give me because of who we doing this for. Now, if you're doing this for somebody else, that becomes obvious, and then, it becomes this, and now I'm in 150 feet of water now. I'm in 150 feet of water. I'm not doing this no more because that's too easy. Either you can or you can't. Either you're nice or you're mean. That's easy. I'm in 150 feet of water because I'm talking to leaders. I don't want to spend my time in 3 feet of water. If y'all can't get this, then you shouldn't be leading. If you can't figure this out, no. It's this that's going to kill your ministry. Okay. All right. So, that was principle number, Fabu. Okay. Any questions on that? Please remember this. So it's really 4 C's. The fourth one is the reverence. Okay? Anybody new? Anybody you looking at? Anybody that's got potential? Great. Anybody's got potential? That ought to go off in your head like a siren. Because as leaders, you know who's on the ministry. And you know the potential of a new person. If you know the culture of your ministry is jacked up, I'm just going to say it, I'm not going to look at anybody. But if you know, I'll say it this way, that the culture of your ministry requires work, please don't bring nobody else in until you fix that. Because if you do not, it's this. It's this. It's this, ladies. And it takes work. It takes work. It takes a lot of work. Because if you invite people in to an environment that is dysfunctional, right? The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, great book, you ought to read it. If you invite people into an environment that's already dysfunctional and they bring their dysfunctions to it, it's this, it's not this, it's this, okay? So I guess what I'm asking you all to do is just assess and evaluate the culture of your ministry. I told you the story, right? I think it was my second year pastor, and it was Easter Sunday. All those people joined, and we ran out of new member cards. You talk about somebody hemorrhaging? It was, what? I wouldn't want to join. That was bad when I said that as a pastor. Oh, it was terrible. It's awful. But come on. Here's a question for all of you. Would you want to join your ministry? Don't answer. Everybody look at me. Everybody look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Would you want to join your ministry? The ministry that you're on, would you want to join it? And if the answer is yes, then go get somebody else. If the answer is no, then fix that to make it comparable for somebody to come in. Okay. I better move on. The hair on the back of my neck is standing up. I don't want y'all looking at me funny. Okay. The 5th principle. Oh, yeah. Okay. Ashley, can we get to the next principle? Principle number 5. Principle number 5. And I think this will be, we'll call it here. Okay. Principle 5 on page 46. Here we go. We need to discuss the Q factor, quality factor, when we plan a project after an event or in our scheduled meetings. Quality ought to become part of the vocabulary of ReLaunch. Right? How do we do we do it well? What do we do well? What do we need to work on? Those ought to be the conversations that you as leaders, you know, average ordinary members, leave them out of that conversation. Leave them out. When you have your ministry fairs and people that, this ain't the time for that. These conversations are just for you all, right? My mother used to say, you know, house business is house business. Don't take house business outside, right? Just leave it in here. So this is house business, right? Need to discuss so it's not just about, as the book says, I think on page 39. I love this quote. It's not just about putting out fires, because extinguishing the fire doesn't improve the hotel. Right? If you call the fire department, the building catches fire. You call the fire department. They come in with the axes and they kick down all the doors and they do all that. They put the fire out. That's great. Nobody was hurt. They saved the cat, all of that. Everything's good. What's the problem? You got to rebuild the building. So in a ministry or on a Sunday or on an event, I hear y'all got that fashion show coming up, right, Brandy? Got the fashion show coming up. Okay, all right. Questions that just, it's not just about putting out fires. It's just not about calming people. It's about building or rebuilding the church. So when you think about quality, I'm trying to simplify it. So when you think about quality, whatever the event is, here's the first question you should always ask, whether it's ministry, an event, anything you're doing for the church that's going to require time and effort. Here is a question as it relates to quality that you ought to ask on the front end. I'm going to write it so I don't get it wrong. What are you trying to get done? What is the reason you're doing whatever it is? Why? What is the reason you're doing whatever it is? Is it to raise money? Is it is it a fundraiser? Is it who am I going after? Is this an in-house thing? Is this a family event? So I'm not marketing it to outside individuals? Do I even want outside individuals to come? Is it evangelistic in nature? Is someone going to meet Jesus? Every church event, Jesus is center, but sometimes it's just a family. Sometimes you're just getting together to eat chicken. Now you can turn it into somebody preaching and all. You can do all that if you want to, but you got to be honest. What are you trying to get done? If I'm just trying to raise a nickel for the church building fund, then that's what we're trying to do. So how are we going to measure that? I'm trying to raise $10,000, $5,000, or whatever. So that becomes a measuring stick, right? A measuring tool. Okay, what am I trying to get done? And you ask this before you ask this. You have to know what you're trying to get done before you ask, how are we going to do it? You got to know. And you have to be able to sum it up in a sentence and not be ashamed about it. I'm just trying to, or I want 3 people to get saved at our event. Whatever, okay? I want, I'm trying to build better camaraderie among this ministry or among us as men. Fine. What are you trying to get done? Then ask how. And when you start asking how, start from the end. Ask questions like, who cleaning up at the end? Start from the back. I'm telling you what I know because I got stuck cleaning up a whole lot of times because we had the event and everybody roll out. And I'm like, where everybody go? I'm cleaning up and taking out trash and all that. Because you didn't ask this. You didn't ask the back question. Right? Everybody know who's going to sing. Everybody know who's going to do all of that. But leaders ask the detailed questions. Who's going to clean up? Who gonna open? What time they gonna open? How many people? If you don't ask, then all you're doing is putting out fires when you realize that, oh my God, I did all this stuff and I never told the person with the key to be here an hour early. Now I got the food outside and the person with the key is expecting to be here 2 hours from now, but the food is here. You see what I'm with the details? It's the details. It's the quality, right? If you want to be quality, right? And in terms of fires, because we're all going to have them, right? Everything's not going to go right on a ministry event. You may pull your hair out. For Deacon and I, it's already gone. You may pull your hair out. It's great when you pull your hair out and nobody knows. Good? It's great when, oh God, stress and all that, but nobody knows. Can you pull it off without you running through the church with your hair on fire? Can you pull that off? Right? Or are you just going to be the crying victim on the side of the road? No, can't do that. Can't do that. You don't have the luxury. A leader does not have the luxury of whimpering on the side of the road. You don't have that luxury. That's why you had a debrief. If you're going to whimper at the debriefing meeting, somebody give you a hanky, and there you go. But when it's game time, I don't have time. I don't have time. So that's why you ask all this on the front end. Keeps you from having a meltdown on the back end. Okay? And practice does not make perfect, it makes permanent. If you do it often and get in the habit of debriefing, we're going to do this, next week, so I'm going to pick a ministry. I feel it next week. I'm going to pick a ministry, and I'm going to ask, how was Sunday? I'm probably going to ask about the fashion show. Not probably, I am. I am going to ask about the fashion show. How'd the fashion show go? And I do not want to hear good. I'm going to assume it's, the assumption when I ask, I assume it's good. So that's not an answer for me, because I already assume it's good. It'd be terrible if I assumed it was bad, right? I already assume that Sunday is good. That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking are the details, right? So, Miss Brandy, yep, your event is up next. We gonna have a debrief on this. How's the fashion show? How was it? All the details. Lights, camera, action, all that. Who's going to come in here and set this up? Because I know the fashion show is not going to look like this. I know it's not. It can't. Who's going to do that? Who's going to put it back together? Because pastor has to preach the next day. Got to have, right? The fashion show's on a Saturday, right? That means Sunday has to look like this. Well, who's going to do this? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. I haven't asked about who's wearing what and who's playing. Nope. I'm asking, who's going to put it together when it's over? Who clean it up? Who open it? Who's going to turn the lights on? Whatever. Okay? So, Miss Brandy, love it. Fashion show, we're going to debrief the fashion show. We're going to do that. I already assume it's going to be good. If I didn't do that, then don't have it. If you can't assume that the event's going to be good, then don't have it. So I already assume, so good is not a qualified answer. I already assume it's going to be good. When I ask about Sunday, I assume it's good. Okay? All right. So discuss the quality factor when you plan an event and have the meetings.
She wants to know how many tickets.
I already bought mine. See that? Boy, I'm quick on my feet now. I'm quick on my feet. I am quick on my feet. Deke. Dana, didn't I give you my money? See, I'm quick on my feet. Cash money here, take my money. Got to support my ReLaunch folk. Come on now. Come on here, see? So I get to ask these questions now, because I pay for this. Thank you. I pay for this. I'm good. Bought my two. I'm good. Praise the Lord. All right now. Okay. So, so again, Debriefing is so important. Debriefing is so important. Please, please. This was the highlight. This was what I'm trying to drill down. Ashley, I want to make that a slide. I definitely want to make that a slide. And we're definitely going to keep revisiting that. So I want to ask a question. We have just a couple of minutes left. And I want to ask this question because I want to continue to build our manual. The one I want to ask, this is a good one because we spent so much, thank you. Type much faster than I talk. Bless your heart. Okay. How many ministries we got here? I know we got music. I know we got hospitality. I know we have intercessors, ushers, and deacons. And, okay. All right. Here's the question. Say again. Children. Okay. Cool. Great. Here's the question. On page 57, it's this. This is the one I want to attack. Who are the best people for your ministry? Who are you looking for? It's actually the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's the 6th or 7th question down. Who are the best people for ministry tasks? Who are the best people for your ministry? And this could be, you know, across the board. Who are the best people for your ministry? Please don't make me call on you. I know everybody's name in here. Don't make me do that. As you think about your ministry, who, again, who, let me ask it this way. Who fits? Who fits? Ma'am, yes. He who desires friends must show himself friendly. Right, don't want the mean usher. Bless your heart. Now, you would think friendly is across the board, right? You know, don't want the unfriendly deacon or the unfriendly hospitality. Okay, what else? Who else?
I would say for my ministry, you have to be able to not judge and be empathetic.
If I can't find compassion in church, where am I going to find it? What else? D, talk to me. Who are you talking about? You talking about deacons or you talking about somebody else?
Deacons.
Deacons, cool. Go ahead. I got you, thank you.
Unbiased and
and
reserved.
Okay. Can't have the hot-headed deacon. Okay, I'm with that. Reserve, right? Take it all in. Good. Music. What we got, Dorian? Come on.
I need that are discerning.
Oh, I heard that one. Now, for the unchurched individual, give me a different word.
Sensitive.
Bingo. Cool.
I got one for you, Red.
Yeah, D.
Dedicated.
Okay. Now, of course, you know, you can't tell that when you first meet them. You know, when you first meet them, you don't know that they're going to disappear 3 out of 4 Sundays. You don't know that. You don't know that. You find that out after they done gave you the headache. But these,
We had 2 more, Reverend.
go. Where we at?
I had honesty and First Lady has 1.
Oh, Mother Turn, what we got?
For my ministry, I need someone who has demonstrated a care and concern for helping others, and also has a sense of confidentiality. That's important.
Go. You know what I translate that? Keep mouth shut. That's the definition of confidentiality. Don't run your mouth. Care and concern, interesting, can't teach care. Either you care or you don't. You can see it real quick though. In the book said people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You can't teach care. Either you care or you don't. And I love the fact that I passed it right there on North Avenue because people can tell that right away. Either you care or you don't. Either you care or I'm just a number. Either you care or you don't. That's why I never had a problem with anybody down there. I wasn't trying to be the gangbanger or the drug. That's not me. I wasn't trying. I was just trying to be me. Take this bag of groceries to Nana. You know good and well your grandmother. Here, take that. That was me. Okay, I wasn't trying to be somebody I'm not. All right. You'll see this again because I'm gonna take that.
Hey, one more.
Go, Deke.
You gotta be approachable.
Oh, so we'll put that there. Wonderful answers, approachable. Okay, that's great. We're gonna park here. Anybody got any other comments? 1 through 3 principles. Please remember those C's of leadership. That they will serve you well. Trust me when I tell you, they will serve you well. Do you fit and are you dependable? You'll save yourself a lot of headache. Nice and can you do it is easy. Do you fit and are you dependable? It's 150 feet of water. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. We're going to stop here, and I'm going to take any questions. If anyone has any questions, we'll go into Principles 6 and 7 next week and probably start on Chapter 3, just so that you know. I will add more to our ReLaunch book. Any questions or comments? Yes, Elisa.
Do the C's
Yes.
make up the culture of your ministry?
It can.
It can? Okay.
It can. Because you want nice people, people that can do the job, people that fit, and people who are dependable. You get that, people won't leave your ministry. You get that. It takes work, though, ladies and gentlemen, okay? It takes work. It takes a lot of work to get that. But you have to at least aim for it. You got to at least aim for it. It just doesn't happen by osmosis. It just don't happen because people come to church. It just don't happen like that, okay? You got to want it. All right, I am 3 minutes over. I'm going to ask, because I'm talking to leaders, I'm going to ask Deke, pray us out, please.
Yes, we thank Reverend Rivera for his wisdom, his willingness. God sent an angel to help us in our willing to serve this ministry, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Absolutely. Father God, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for this fellowship. We thank you for the teaching. We thank you for the willingness to serve you even more better. We pray for all the ones that came, all the ones who wanted to come and aren't here. We pray that, they have the willingness to serve even in their absence, and those who are here, we pray that those souls be saved to serve you even all the more, Lord. We thank and praise you for your mercy, your grace, and we pray traveling mercies as we go to our destinations. In Jesus' name, amen.